Today's bike check is the 1984 Skyway TA. TA stands for Totally Aerodynamic. This BMX bike is iconic because of its frame design, which, as the name implies, totally aerodynamic. The tubing is all ovalized tubing, kind of aerospace looking. The forks, everything is ovalized, tapered, end capped, as far as how the frame and fork design is made. Even the seat tube is aerodynamic. It's round at the where the seat post goes in and turns into an ovalized kind of a wing shape as far as the seat tube. Chain stays are tapered, closed-ended. Again, aerodynamic, so they have that shape of an airplane wing. So Skyway made its claim to fame from the Skyway Tough Wheel, obviously, which everybody knows the name of. They were doing motorcycle products in the 70s, and were actually initially going to make a motorcycle wheel, the Tough Wheel. And because of heat problems, they ended up producing them for bikes instead, bicycles. So that's the story on Skyway Tough Wheels, and that was the 70s. So by the 80s, the Tough Wheels had caught on, and they were on a lot of bikes, including the Schwinn and Mongoose bikes, as far as stock parts. They got into the bicycles, actually producing a frame like this. They started in 1982. Frames were produced 83, 84, 85. The freestyle bikes came along and they jumped into that as well. But this was their first foray into a complete bike. They had a great racing team, and they were a co-sponsor for a lot of teams and so forth in the 1980s. So when they jumped into the complete bike era, they had the Patterson brothers and different people racing on their teams, and now able to wear their uniforms, that ride the complete bike, ride the Tough Wheels, all of that. So this bike has been in my collection since 2006, when Jason Morgan bothered me enough to keep me involved in, here's the rendition of what the bike looked like when I bought it in 2006. He had it at a couple yard sales, had it to Hagerstown BMX, trying to pawn it off on me, knowing I was ultimately going to buy it. But he came up with a deal I couldn't refuse in 2006, so I purchased the bike, and it has been an ongoing project since then. So the rundown on this bike, I mean, it has been through 5 different inceptions since I got it, but I feel like this is the final rendition. Couple repro parts or newer parts on it, but for the most part, all the parts on the bike are old school. And these wheels, the Araya anodized red wheels with bullseye hubs, date back to probably the mid 90s, when a guy at Hub City Cycles pulled up in a pickup truck full of BMX parts and sold me some parts. And in those parts were a set of red bullseye hubs, and I built up these wheels. And then subsequently, other years after that, I found better hubs and found better spokes and rims on the bike. So this is kind of the final rendition of those wheels. Comp 2 tires are reproduction tires that you can buy from Pork Chop. I think the grips are newer, yeah. Regular square font Amy tries. The donuts are original. The other factor on this bike is trying to find a matching Zap pad set in red grid, which proved to be a monumental task. I had 2, I think, of the 3 pads, and then finding the final was kind of the creme de la creme. Another note, this also has the original Skurd dirt skirt that I bought this bike with, so I kept that in Jason's honor. The bars are reproduction Skyway Pro bars. The cranks. This actually was a set of cranks that I bought new in the box from the New England Muscle Bike Museum. He was not into BMX, and he had a variety of stuff that he had picked up over time. And this crank set, complete chromoly CT, it's the solid chromoly cranks. It's not aluminum cranks, but they're designed like the aluminum cranks. And it's got a sealed bottom bracket. That came from in the box. It's even got the Crown logo, Sugino, including the chainring bolts, like all the goods. Color match chain on this bike, KKT pedals. I think they're the AMX pedals. New old stock again. I think they were from the same thing. And my only slip up on this bike is that I probably need a tough neck, but it's got a power light stem, which is the Clover stem from the 90s, and it was a nice red anodized, so I went with it, and I have since, but that's what's tucked away underneath that Zap pad, and I probably should update that and get a period correct stem. Diacomp MX1000s front and rear with Tech 4 brake levers, matching red cables. So it's got a great parts assortment, and I consider the bike done now after it's been through several renditions in the past 20 years. It's even got the Cashimax Aero, thanks to Mike Bolliard and Alan Bolt Guts to boot. So I've added little stuff. I've got the anodized dropout savers. This frame and fork is all original with original decals, so I'm pretty happy with that. When I originally bought the bike, it had a Daryl Young fork on it, a JMC fork, and I had since found the Skyway TA fork for it. There's a lot more frames than there are forks as far as original Skyway parts. It's hard to find the forks because they broke a lot. So there's more frames than there are forks, and you'll find that if you try to build one of these. So that's my rendition of the Skyway TA, 1984 production. And it's in my collection just because it's a rare and unique bicycle. I didn't ride a TA back in the day, but it is an iconic frame and fork, I think. So that's why it's part of my BMX collection.